So there's something's been happening with Chinese hackers and SharePoint servers, according to Microsoft, and it seems to be getting more serious. I was going to wait on this to report on it, but I saw an article today that's a follow-up to an article I saw a few days ago, and it's getting pretty bad. So let's jump into this one. Chinese hackers behind SharePoint server attacks, Microsoft says. So, what is this? Essentially, what's happening here is that Chinese state sponsored actors seem to be attacking SharePoint servers, and they're using a remote code execution vulnerability chain. And these SharePoint servers, what is SharePoint, right, from Microsoft? So it's a secure place to store, organize, share, and access information from any device. All you need is a web browser, such as whatever, right? And so you store all your information up here. Super secure, right? Super secure. And according to Microsoft, this is the thing. According to Microsoft, the exploit goes back to China. That's what it points to. And it's Linen Typhoon and Violet Typhoon. We also have another Typhoon group that we know is linked to China, Salt Typhoon. We've talked about them as well, and I have some articles on that for an upcoming stream if I ever get to it. In any case, so these SharePoint servers are now being attacked, and the technical details are posted here, but who really cares? You just craft a post request to a SharePoint server, and away you go. This is pretty bad. It's looking pretty bad. Okay, so CNBC reports that hackers have already compromised the U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration agency, responsible for maintaining the country's nuclear weapons stockpile. Okay. Other confirmed victims include the U.S. Department of Education, Florida's Department of Revenue, and the Rhode Island General Assembly, Bloomberg reported, citing individuals familiar with the matter. Dozens of organizations and more than 100 servers have been identified as compromised, with more likely to come. So, we have a successful hack from China into the U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration Center, the state of which we're not 100% sure how much access they have, how much control they have, because the details of the hack are just how they got in, not necessarily what they get to control. And if SharePoint servers have just information like documents and stuff as what's defined here, then maybe it's not so bad. Maybe we shouldn't freak out just yet. But if any of that information contains further points of failure that China or these Chinese state actors, it's not necessarily China. You have to remember, just because they're linked to China doesn't actually mean that it's sponsored by China or China approved, right? So you got to be careful about how you word it. But they definitely seem to be linked to China in one way or another. And you have to consider that maybe China itself, the Chinese government, is keeping a close eye on this. Because if you have access to U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration, Department of Education, blah, 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 yeah, you're probably going to want to know about that.